Alright, Shalom Akim. Giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. And double honors to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone. And peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect, okay? Alright, this is your brother Samak. Coming with another lesson, something I just put together. It was something I was pondering on, throughout the day and whatnot. I'm just getting off the plantation. But this is something that is very important, This is really the purpose of our walk. And really, but this is the path of our walk, okay? Now I'm going to start right here, Matthew 7:13. It says, enter ye at the straight gate. It says, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go into it thereat. So like I'm actually driving at the moment too, so I'm gonna be reading a little slower. But yeah, man, you gotta enter at the straight gate. The gate into the kingdom of heaven, man, is a wide gate, but the path that leads, man, is very narrow, man. It's very narrow. The path that leads to the kingdom of heaven, man. It says, verse 14, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life. It says there be few there be that find it. So when we go back to verse 13, it says broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. And you know why? Because the path to destruction is very broad. There's many avenues and ways you can go into destruction, man. And it's a really easy path. The path of destruction is a really easy and simple path, man. It's pretty much you just do all of your heart's desires, man. Which your heart is wicked, man. That's why I hate when people say God know my heart. Well, yeah, your heart is wicked above all. That's said in the scriptures. So many people will choose the broad path, man, because that broad path gives them many options, man. Many avenues. It looks simple. It looks easy. It looks appetizing, so to say. I always say that. But it looks very enticing to go down the path of destruction. Because when you go down the path of destruction, what is it that they lure you into this path with? Riches, money, sex, drugs, vanity, cars, clothes, jewelry. This kingdom glorifies and sexualizes. Really, this kingdom sexualizes everything, and it glorifies sex. Okay, this country teaches you about being promiscuous. It teaches you about being a whoremonger of a man. Just popping women left and right. That, especially that of your own nation, and not, doing things decently in order. Okay, we know we're not supposed to be whoring our women. Okay, but this kingdom teaches you to whore your woman, man. It's set in great dignity to be a whore in this kingdom, man. That's one of the snares. Look at our music industry. Okay, look at our women that are glorified in the music industry. They're all whores, man. There's no positive, if any, really. There's no positive female figures in the music industry for our young women. There's no positive female figures. They're all whores, man. It's very few that are okay. But even then, they don't know the Lord, so it's kind of null and void. But you get the gist I'm trying to make, okay? Now let's jump shift. And when we come over to verse 14, it talks about how the narrow is the way, and few there be that find it. Okay, that path to the kingdom is very narrow, man. It's a very narrow path, man. And the next scripture I pull is going to go into it, man. It's going to go a little deeper into it. Okay. So when you see this narrow path, people, I don't want to go down that. that narrow, but it's too tight, man. It's too narrow. You know, this is a big street. Let's drive down this big street. Let's not go down that little block. You know, because any of you brothers that's from an urban city, myself from Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a really big city, and it's very diverse with its community, so to say, as far as the neighborhoods and how they look. You have many different neighborhoods in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a very big city, if you have not known it. It's very, very big. But in the majority of Philadelphia, you have North Philadelphia, South Philadelphia, West Philadelphia, and Northeast Philadelphia. Those are the Southwest. You got West, Southwest, South, North, Northeast. These are the most primary areas in Philadelphia. And when you go into the worst parts of the Philadelphia, which would be like North Philadelphia, some parts of West Philadelphia, most parts of Southwest, some of those are better than other, you know. But I'm gonna say North Philly because North Philly is one of the worst parts of Philadelphia. You go into North Philadelphia, a lot of the blocks are very small and narrow streets. And when you see these streets, you already know it's bad news going down that block late at night. You know, usually the smaller the block, the worse it was. But the point I'm trying to make is that people look at the path to the kingdom of heaven in a negative manner, okay? Because this path is not an easy path. Because when you choose to go down this path, there's only one way. You can't go left, right. It's not a broad path. You can't go down many avenues. You can't ride on the right side of the street, in the middle of the street, on the left side of the street. It's like when you're going down 95, as I'm on right now, highway. There's 4 lanes right now, and there is not that on the path to the kingdom, okay? Because it's too narrow. You can only go in one lane, man. You can only go one way, okay? And it's so narrow that you can't move a little to your right or move a little to your left. You have no choice but to just go straight, okay? And the kingdom is a straight path, okay? There's no curves, there's no turns, there's no ditches, no hills. It's literally a straight road. All you have to do is follow the law, statutes, commandments to the best of your ability. Have faith in Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai. Believe on Yahweh Shai to be the deliverer and be the gateway to our Father. And that's really pretty much it, man. It's just simple, it's straightforward, okay? Follow the law, statutes, commandments, and have faith, all right? You show your faith through your works and your actions. It's that simple, man. You know, of course, it's not really simple, but you get what I'm trying to say. It's a straight path. You steer in this direction, and you will have no harm, man. You just go in this direction and this direction only. All right, now I'm gonna jump to the next precept that's going to explain this narrow gate. This is 2nd Ezra, the 7th chapter, and I'm gonna start at the 6th verse. Start the 5th verse. It says, who then could go into the sea to look upon it? Who then could go into the sea and look upon it and rule it? It says, if he went not through the narrow, how come? It says, how could he come into the broad? It says, there is another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and that city is the kingdom of heaven, and it's on a broad field, man, because the kingdom of heaven, when you go into it, it talks about the gates around the kingdom of heaven, which is the capital, New Jerusalem, okay? It's going to be, I think it's 12,000 furlongs, I think it says, if I'm not mistaken. And it says that the walls, length, and the height basically are the same, are equal. So it's 12,000 furlongs long, 12,000 furlongs high, okay? And when we did the math, I believe it was equivalent to about 1,500 miles, okay? According to Esau's calculations. It was roughly equivalent to about 1,500 miles. So that's a very very broad field, okay? And this city was builded upon it. It says, it is full of all good things. Hey man, it's the kingdom of heaven. We already know, that is of good things. We can't even scratch the surface on the things, but we know, bro, we just know, man, through faith, we know. All right. It says, the entrance thereof is narrow and is set in a dangerous place to fall. That entrance is that straight gate, okay? Not the straight gate, but that path, man. That path is a narrow path. And it's set in a dangerous place to fall, man. And, when you go into it, you can look at that dangerous place as America, man. Because America is set up with nothing but traps and snares to destroy our people, man. It's set up as a place to fall, man. This place is not set up for us to excel at all, okay? It says in a dangerous place to fall. Yeah, because if you're on a narrow path, imagine walking a tightrope. You gotta have balance. You gotta have steadiness. You can only go one way on a tightrope, and you can't turn around on a tightrope, man, or your ass is gonna fall. It says, or you at least, so you don't want to attempt it, unless you got some crazy skill. But it says, like as if there were a fire on the right hand and on the left deep water. What's that deep water, man? And what's that fire? All right. So imagine walking down a pathway, right? And on the left hand side of your car, Salakia. Not on the left hand side of the car, but you're walking down the path, okay? And on the left hand side of you, there's deep waters, all right? So you don't want to fall into those deep waters. And on the right hand side, there's fire, man. Let's say there's fire rising up, right? Or there's a pool of fire, and then you got a pool of deep air, okay? A deep water. Now, you have no choice but to go straight. So the point is, any obstacles that you encounter in this truth, in this pathway to the kingdom, you have to overcome, all right? There is no going around obstacles. So this is where your faith comes into play. That's why we're faith-based Israelites, and this thing of ours is all about our faith. So in our works that we do show our faith, like forsaking family members, forsaking jobs, forsaking time, opportunity, forsaking riches for the kingdom's sake, all right? So when you come across these obstacles, you have no option but to overcome them, okay? To either break them down, either break it down. Let's say there's a rock there's a boulder in the road, okay? You can't go around it either way because you have deep waters on one side, fire on the other. So your only options are to either climb over it or to break it down, all right? Either way, as long as you keep going forward, however the Lord ordains it to be fixed is how it's going to be fixed, okay? So that's the point. And it says, and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. And I'm going to bring another scripture that's going to back this up, all right? It says that it's so small that only one man can go at a time. What scriptures does that remind you of, okay? I know it reminds me of Philippians 2:14. It says, and I'm going to grab that, but let me finish this. It says, if this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive his inheritance? So our inheritance is the kingdom of heaven. How are you going to expect to inherit or receive your inheritance, your blessing, if you can't go down a dangerous path? If you're not willing to forsake the cares and affairs of this world, if you're not willing to take up your cross daily, man. And when you go into that word cross, it goes into I looked it up the other day. I'm trying to remember. I don't want to chop it score. Basically, it goes into atonement, and it goes into self-denial. All right, it makes sense. because you taking up your cross, meaning you're denying yourself daily things that are not comely unto this walk, and you're denying yourself, or you're atoning for your sins, all right, that you've committed. So make sure that you, Akim, are really paying attention to what's going on, that you're really heeding to pretty much like the things that distract you on the side, the things that cause you to go off of your path because you don't want to. So like, yeah, I gotta look this up real quick because my gas tank is on E. I ain't even noticed. Literally, it says I got literally 1 mile left. Hey, but I'm driving through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So, I'm gonna make it. I don't even think there's a gas station 2 miles between where I'm at, but that's just the faith of the saints. All right. Now let me keep going. So back when I read on verse 8 where it says so small that there could but one man go there at once. Right here, Philippians 2:12, it says, "Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling." So you got to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. You can't expect to make it into the kingdom of heaven by riding a brother's coattail, by hanging on to a brother, by being a cheerleader, as I like to call some of these Israelites, man. They don't have no works. They barely keeping the commandments, but I'm an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, they have no works to show their faith. They weren't out on the highways and the hedges teaching our people, man, showing that labor of love. They weren't making their bodies a living sacrifice. They were still eating abominable foods. They weren't observing the Sabbath. They weren't getting out of America's so-called holidays. They were still celebrating Christmas. They just were Christians with an Israelite twist. Oh, we Israelites, making a trend out of it. So you got to work out your own salvation. You can't expect another brother to take you to the kingdom with him, all right? As a man. Even as a woman, and it's truth. If you have a man and your man's not necessarily in the truth, that's not to discourage you, okay? As long as ye do right by your husband that you do have, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, you show that humility, you show that righteousness in you to follow your man, to be humble, to be submissive. The Lord will bless you, man. Somehow you'll still be delivered. As long as that man doesn't, however the Lord works it out, is how He's gonna work it out, all right? But specifically, I'm speaking to you men, and on this one, you can't ride the coattail of another brother. You can't expect another brother to keep you and hold you accountable for your own salvation, all right? Now, as men, you can do this with your women, all right? Now, scriptures do say that the unbelieving man and unbelieving woman is sanctified through the husband or the wife, but that only goes but so far. As long as they're not blaspheming this truth, man. The Lord will work it out the way to work it out. So, like I said, we don't know who the elect is, and like I said, for the women that might be with a man that's in the world, that might be with a woman that's in the world. That might be with a woman in the world. A man in the world. At the end of the day, if he's not in his truth, as long as he's being pleased to dwell with you and he respects your culture, trying to keep the law, statutes, commandments, calling yourself an Israelite. At the end of the day, you being submissive and humble and serving your husband and still having faith in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Of course, as your woman, you're going to pray for your husband to wake up. Just plant the seed little by little. Feed him here, feed a little here. Tell him to research this. Give him a link. Let your husband go at his own speed, because at the end of the day, the Lord might wake him up in Jacob's trouble. He might wake up during the famine. He might wake up, you know what I mean? He might start, everybody has their time. So just keep doing right by the Lord and keep going down this path. Now I'm going to get this last precept, Proverbs 4:25 and 26. It says, let thine eyes look right on, and let thy eyelids look straight before thee. So just keep looking straight, man. Don't look back. Don't look right. Don't look left. It says, ponder the path of thy feet and let all thy ways be established. So, hey, listen, just constantly remain on this straight path. Let your ways be established, constantly looking straight. Don't tarry or sway to the right or sway to the left, all right? Remain strong and grounded in this truth so you be not swept away by the philosophies and the wickedness of these devils, all right? Lord willing, this video is edifying. Till next time, shalom.